to We're Gonna Win the League podcast, episode 2. My name is
Let's
Dan,
go,
and
Ryan. Let's go.
I'm joined by my friend here, James and Craig. How are we doing tonight, lads?
I'm very
Yep.
good. We got
very well.
James on his first one this week. So
Yeah.
how does it feel,
Yeah.
James?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Good.
Quite good.
So
Yeah.
let's start off the weekend. Arsenal versus
Arsenal,
Leeds.
Leeds.
Um,
So before we go on, Dan, I just want to bring up a question. Actually, this is planned. Actually, so last week, Dan, you turned around and said Arteta is not the manager who's going to get goals out of Eucharist.
Yeah, I know. I watched that actually.
So I just want a little bit of your thoughts on that and the game. So
well, it's true. Even though he scored 2 goals last week, let's not forget one was a penalty goal. My concern with Arteta, even though you smashed Leeds 5-0, the first half of that game is almost as the same tactic as it was last season. He doesn't like to have a striker playing on, and you can tell by the way they played. They all came up from the wingers. Gyökeres took ages to get his bearings around. Obviously he scored in the second half. That was after Timber's corner goal. So the game changed after the first goal and made it more open for Arsenal to attack after scoring the first goal. So I thought that made a difference. Before you had the first corner, before Timber scored the first goal, I think the game was almost like 50-50. The first maybe 20-25 minutes of the game. Obviously, corner FC once again. I just don't understand why any team in the Premier League now, when they have Arsenal as a fixture, I don't understand why they don't practice for the Arsenal corners. I just don't get it. Arsenal will get the corner and they'll score the goal from it, but the Premier League team are just not prepared to deal with it. I don't. Is it really hard to get to defend a corner?
I don't think they do practice for it, but what it is that the balls that Declan Rice puts in are so on top of the keeper that it panics them. That's the thing, and they don't know who's going to head the ball, do they? Well, mostly it was Gabriel last season. Timber's getting goals from corners. Saliba gets the odd one. They don't know who to mark, do they? That's the other. Now you've got Gyökeres, who's really tall. You said about 4 foot last week or something, didn't you?
Let's not forget. I'm not going to criticize him much when he missed that opening chance at 16 minute when the defender did the pass back and he just he had time to slot that in, but he was surprised that the ball came back to him and he just panicked and took the shot.
I just think he's a bit rusty. I think he's just a bit rusty. It's just because you're in the Premier League. Obviously, he had a bit of time where he weren't training for a while, didn't he? So he weren't training.
How do you feel?
I think he's done a bit of what Isaac's done to Newcastle, and he said, "I'm not playing for you no more." And then that's what. And then I'm not so sure Isaac's going to leave. I think they're going to just leave him to rot. I can see Newcastle just leaving him to rot because they've got so much money, haven't they? Them sort of teams, they've got.
Yeah, we'll come back to the Isaac story, but what I want to know is how did you feel about the Arsenal versus Leeds game in the first 25 minutes or half an hour before you got the first goal?
The first 25 minutes, I thought I think it's the same whenever you play a low block team like that, and you've got to win like the duels, ain't you? Most of the time we had possession, so they didn't have much possession. So I don't think they ever looked like scoring. But the thing is, at one time they have a chance. Sometimes in previous games they've had that one chance and they've scored and they've had one shot. Like last season we've watched Arsenal dominate games with possession, and then the teams have one shot at the other end and they've happened to take that chance and we've been 1 down, and then the pressure is on because if you can't break a team down when it's 0-0 and then they go 1-0 up, it makes it even harder, doesn't it? But once you get the first goal, like you say, they open up.
They open up once you get the first goal. I think that's what Arsenal needed to get the first goal in. And then after that, it just went on the flow, which is unfortunate.
Like what James just said there. I was watching the game, and I did think for the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, it wasn't like Leeds were putting a lot of pressure on Arsenal. Arsenal just knocking it around, and I think the commentators as well said, somewhat, you have to go forward soon. So I'm not sure why, Arsenal were knocking it around for so long at the beginning, because it wasn't like Leeds were coming onto them. And then, to be fair, it's a good job Arsenal did knock it around for the first 20 minutes. It could have been about 6, 7, or 8-0. So
Yeah.
to be fair, it was like a cat playing with a mouse. Really, I mean, for the first 20 minutes, it was like they didn't want to go too hard on them, because Leeds win. I don't think Leeds were doing a lot to break it down. They were positionally very good, but I mean, Arsenal didn't look threatened at all. They just it was very, very slow, which surprised me when they were playing Leeds.
That game I watched last night, the Newcastle-Liverpool game, reminded me of our first game against Man United. Man United had all the chances and they were all over us.
Yeah.
And then we stole a win. Well, we scored from a corner. And that game, Newcastle in the first half looked the same. It looked like Newcastle were all over Liverpool. And then obviously Liverpool got the goal from a long shot.
Can I just
and
go
I
back?
think that reminded me of that game. But obviously the difference was in the second half, Newcastle had 10 men. But that first half of Newcastle, I think Newcastle played really well. But you could tell the level of skill difference between Newcastle looked like a team that were grafting, and Liverpool looked like a team that were a lot more skillful than them. But it looked like Newcastle were putting so much effort in that they ended up having the better of the first half, and they had way more possession. And I think that's what happened to going back to Arsenal, because obviously we're talking about Arsenal. I think the first game we were a bit lucky to win because Man United hit the post. But the second game, I think Arteta probably told them in the first 20 minutes, come on, let's keep the ball. Let's make sure we build our confidence up and then go for. I think that's what happened, because we had so little possession against Man United. And I think he's saying keep the ball and slowly ease into the game, slowly get your confidence
What
up.
difference does it make? Like, one thing I keep saying to you, like, Arteta has not what changes, what changes has been introduced the last 2 games that was different from last season, for the last 5 games of last season. Also, what it's
Well,
it's
the
the same.
players have
It's the
changed a
same.
lot.
I mean, the players has changed, but the tactic was still the same. Like, if you look at Liverpool now, and Slot is struggling to create tactically with this new team that he's got, because they got rid of like lots of players and brought new ones in, and he's struggling to get them in rhythm. But with Arteta, even though you got new players, it's more or less the same tactics. Like
Yeah, but you
I mean,
can argue he
it
don't need
works.
to change.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't think you need to change at all. But
Why does he need to change? He's come
yeah,
second 3 times on the chart. But
and the
last year we
reason
had a
he
lot
needs
of
to
injuries.
change, I mean, how do you get the maximum thing from Gyökeres? He's that type of player that wants to play number 9 and wants the ball passed to him. Like he wants to be that role. But if you're
I
just
think
playing
that
from the wingers, he might get a couple of goals now and again, but the goals will come from your wingers.
Yeah, but I think that come with time, because he's not used to playing with these players, is he? So it's like Henry. They reckon it took Henry 9 games to score his first goal. It took Gyökeres to his first home game. So, and he's not really used to playing. And I know sometimes people say, "Oh, he don't look fit. He's a bit slow on the ball and all that." But that could just be adapting, couldn't it? Like some players take ages to adapt to the Premier League. There was one player that took like it's a whole season. I think Vieira took a long while. When Vieira played for us, I think he took almost half a season to adapt.
I mean,
to the way
it does happen. Yeah, it does happen. I think there's certain players that will just come in and gel through quicker than other players. Yeah, that makes sense. But
I thought there was a lot of pressure on him, to be fair. I mean,
there's a lot of pressure.
For only the second game and the first home match, you could see the pressure on his shoulders. And I don't know if that's because you said, James, like, because he had in his previous employer at Lisbon, he was very standoffish, refused to play, didn't turn up for training.
I think that didn't help. No, that
maybe that's the reason why. But I thought it was bizarre for your first home match to feel like you've been there 6 months without a goal.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of pressure on him, because we've gone 3 seasons without a striker, and now all the weight's on him to be that person, and we've not had that person, have we? So now all of a sudden you're going into a new season, and the expectation is all on Gyökeres to score 20 goals, and like And I think he only needs 20 or 15 goals because all our players score from all over the pitch. Like the one statistic they said with Arsenal is the last 2 seasons. I think it probably not last season where we struggled a bit more and you finished on about, what did you finish on? About 83 points did you finish on? And we finished on 77. I can't remember, something like that. Anyway, yeah, the season before where we finished just below City by 2 points and we just lost it at the end, or whatever. And the season before that, they said we'd scored more goals with that team than we scored with any of our Arsenal teams in the history of the Premier League. So we've scored more goals with players without playing without a striker than we have with a striker. So I do think
I think that comes through Arteta's tactics. Though I think he's very good at getting the goals on the wingers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a compliment to him, though. That's not me saying, he doesn't need a striker. And I think this is the point Dan was making last week. How do you get the best out of Gyökeres and the wingers without compromising? Which is not a bad headache to have when you've got to choose.
And I want to mention, obviously, if he's going to play wingers, but your main man Saka is injured again. How do you feel about that?
He's only injured 3 weeks apparently, so I've read. So it's not too bad.
3 weeks, 3 games. You missed. But
what about
yeah, but we've got Mandem Wenke now, haven't we? However you say.
Do you think this injury from Saka?
Is that how you say his name, Craig?
Madueke.
Yeah, so he can play on the right. So he can play.
Do you think? I want to talk about Saka. Do you think this is it's not just a blimp anymore? It's more common ground that he will get injury.
Prone to injury.
Prone to injury, kind of like Ox-Chamberlain that happened before. When he came to Liverpool, he played a few games and then he was injured for like more than a season. Do you reckon he'll be that type of player now? That Saka that would become it. You lose the value of the player when he's.
I don't think he will. No, I think he's quite a strong player. I think it's just his hamstring's gone and he's out for 3 weeks. And I think Arteta took him off rather than damage the situation further. And I think he done the same with Odegaard. Odegaard seemed to have some sort of shoulder injury, but it didn't look like a dislocated shoulder. And he took him off. And I think he's thinking, I'm not having what happened last season where we got no players. Because if you remember last season, when we played you guys, Saliba got a red card the game before, so we had no Saliba. And then Gabriel went off injured. He went off injured with about in the 60th minute, didn't he? So we had Kiwior and someone else at the back against you guys. Who did we have at the back? Ben White went centre back, didn't he?
Ben White.
So we had no defence. So what I'm saying is I think he's being careful, and I think he's took off Odegaard and he's took off Saka as a precaution, because and I think he knows Saka's hamstring's gone and he's probably going to be out 3 weeks. But it's weird because in the papers the other day they were saying, Saka might be able to play at Anfield, and then the BBC reported 5 minutes later, and then they said, he won't be able to play at Anfield now, but he's not as bad as they once thought. But apparently we've got 4 injuries. We've got Havertz is injured, Ben White, Saka, and Ben White.
You have Eze coming on now. I'm hoping I'd like to see him in Anfield on Sunday. Not only because he's on my fantasy team. I think. Do you think that you are a strong position to come to Anfield on Sunday now against Liverpool?
I think we're in a much stronger position than we've ever been in because we've got 2 players for every position. So for every injury we've got someone else like Madueke. We've got that. Eze can play where Odegaard plays if Odegaard isn't right for Sunday. And also, in fact, I think I'd rather Eze play than Odegaard because I think Eze runs at people and he can create chances. And I think Odegaard's a brilliant player, but if he ain't quite right, you're best to play Eze and then play Martinelli on the other wing, and then you've got pace both wing. And then you've still got Gyökeres in the middle.
Before we move on, I just want to get your opinion on the Eze transfer saga. Because last week, he was reported prone to sign in the morning. News came out, I think it might be on Thursday or Friday morning, that he was going to Spurs in the morning, and then all of a sudden, he signed for Arsenal in the afternoon. So, how do you feel about the Spurs fans? How do you feel about that?
I got to admit,
do you have any message for the Spurs fans about that?
I just thought I was shocked, to be fair. I thought it was I just didn't expect it because I thought we were done after Gyökeres. I thought that was it. We're done there. And we've probably had the best summer of signings we've ever had since the Premier League's been going, I think. So I was shocked. And I thought it was a nice touch the way he came out the tunnel. It's like something. So it reminded me of something from the Royal Rumble. Well, hang on, he's come out the tunnel. they didn't come out the tunnel, and all the fans were
You
clapping
can't
him. And I
see me.
thought, oh, what's this? Is this John Cena's come out?
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
I thought that was a nice touch because, like, to get all of him to walk out the tunnel with his jeans on, his Arsenal shirt, and then have a I think they did that a bit deliberately as well because they thought, oh, we're starting from Tottenham, so let's get him to come out the tunnel.
Yeah,
I think that was a little bit of a deliberate. Yeah, but no, I thought it was quite a nice touch.
I think I'm very looking forward to the game on that Sunday. You know, it's a very good fixtures. I think with all this, I think it's great for football. It's great for the fans. I think the rivalry there is there now. You know, starting it early, the competition. So
can I just ask then?
Yeah,
this,
go on.
because obviously you asked James this question. How are you feeling going in? You asked James then, as an Arsenal fan, how are you feeling going into the weekend? And James obviously said, you know, stronger than ever. How do you feel about Liverpool going into the weekend of Arsenal?
Oh, I feel fine, mate. Like I feel like, you know, it's just another day in the office. But you know, we have the advantage coming into the you know the atmosphere in Anfield's different. Like when teams come there, it's gonna be a great game. I think it'll be competitive. The obviously, you know, like last night, what happened in last night in Newcastle, when everybody knew about the Isak saga and how Newcastle is gonna act, but I didn't expect it's gonna be that spectacle, you know, like what they've done last night. And it was just a great atmosphere. I feel it's weird because, like, why is all Newcastle fans hating on Liverpool for Isak when we made a bid, they rejected it. We're not making Isak to do the things that he's doing at Newcastle. But when the game started, they all came in like it was like a Champions League final. Like, oh, we're gonna get this dickheads. No, we're gonna get all this Liverpool fans. We're gonna break their bones. We're gonna break their like. They came in with an attitude. So it like Newcastle had the right motivation and mentality. You know, it was almost like Rocky and bloody Rocky Balboa when he's what's that?
I think Liverpool got a few defensive issues though, haven't they? Because they've got that right back. You got like a defensive midfielder, haven't you? What's his name?
What happened was we had Liverpool had we had Frimpong who was injured, was out for a couple
I know
weeks.
He's injured,
and we had no cover. Even though we had Conor Bradley, but he's not fit. He hasn't had any mini games, and we had Gomez who hasn't really been playing for the last year. So we put Dominic Szoboszlai to right back. But let me tell you,
he played really well.
Oh my God!
He got the highest rating on the pitch. So.
He did all right, but it ain't his natural position, is it?
No, it's not his natural position. But
it's a bit like when we played Party right back, isn't it? Really?
But the way he played last night, you wouldn't think he wasn't born right back defender, and he did. And he for me, I think Szoboszlai was man on the match.
Okay, so where did you think the mistakes were in the defence when you let the 2 goals in against 10 men?
Oh, you've got to start from the beginning, like how the atmosphere was. Like you said, I said, Newcastle came in for a fight. You wanted a full fight, and Liverpool was just like, well, we're just gonna go and play, and like why you want to fight with us? Like we're just here to play you. It's what's going on with you and your club is nothing to do with the Liverpool fans or Liverpool.
Yeah, but I got to admit, I expect that to happen every time I play Newcastle. Every time Arsenal's played Newcastle, they're a very physical team.
Yeah,
they're a very physical team. They go in for duels. They're like going for every second ball.
This was
they
different.
Press hard.
They were going for a fight here. They were going for a fight with the fans. Like
but they do that every time we play them. I think. I do think they're like that.
I've never heard anything so loud in my life. It looked like a Champions League final last night. Well,
that's because they dump your supporters at the top stand, don't they? Your supporters can't be heard where they are. They bang them up the top.
I did get worried. The first 5 minutes we had a yellow card for Konate. He fouled somebody.
Oh, the whole discipline of Liverpool's team in the first half an hour was terrible.
Yeah, but they should have had some bookings. What's his name? The ex-Tottenham player. What's his name? I can't. Trippier. He should have had a card, shouldn't he?
Yeah, he should have one. Yeah.
He should have had one. Gordon's was definite red card. That was ridiculous.
So what do we think of Gordon's then, both? I mean, for me personally, I I just cannot believe, as a Newcastle fan, if I was a Newcastle fan, I'd be absolutely fuming because there was no need to go into that tackle
Ridiculous,
at the
James.
first
Yeah.
either, because it wasn't like Van Dijk was playing the ball across field so quick, you know.
And he just came out from nowhere.
To
He came out from nowhere.
You can't even use it as an excuse because the ball wasn't being played at a pace. It was slowed down. And I thought it was a ridiculous
It
challenge.
killed the game as well. Well, I say
Yeah.
it killed the game. Newcastle did well to come back, but I think Newcastle fans should be proud of their performance to come back 2-0 down with 10 men. But having said that, I think it was a ridiculous chance by Gordon, to be honest. And it's a bit like Gordon, and he was working his socks off. And I think they said last night, they said it's his second red card in his career. So you don't normally do that. So I think it was the heat of the moment because of the hostility of the Newcastle fans. And I think Eddie Howe he'd got him rolled up so badly. He'd got him rolled up for that game. He'd really got him motivated.
And you can tell. And you can tell if Newcastle played like that, right? If they did last night. Imagine if Isak was playing. Liverpool would have been 4-0 down last night.
They'd have won if
they would have won.
Isak was in that game.
Yeah, if Isak
was playing, they'd have beat you.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I know. But let me just read some stats from last night. So this is the stats from the final whistle. So even though when you're watching the game, you think Newcastle had more possession than Liverpool, it wasn't the case at all. It was Newcastle 38% possession and Liverpool had 62% throughout the match.
Yeah, but go from the first half.
Well, the first half, I don't have that too. I can tell you.
That's what I'm saying. If you go from the first half, from when they had 11 men, I bet they had way more possession than you. Because I remember them putting it up in the first 20 minutes, and it was something like.
Well, I can tell you though, the shots Newcastle had 10 shots in total, and only of them 3 on target. So you can tell that how Liverpool defense were quite aware, and they did really well. Van Dijk was he took care of a lot of things last night.
But what was proven is you can't play without a striker. It's the same season.
Even so,
what we had.
I'll write down. First half possession, it was close, but Liverpool 54% and Newcastle 46%. And
when did they have the send off? What minute did they have the send off?
The send off was half
40th minute, wasn't it?
Yeah, half time. Yeah. So in the second half, Liverpool has 71% and 29% ball possession to Newcastle.
Yeah, there's a big difference in the second half, isn't there? That's because of the 10
But let me tell you though, on the second half, Newcastle have 5 corners, Liverpool 0, 2 big chances, 2 shots on target. So they were controlling the game with the corners, so they were getting corners after corners. But I feel like, do you think that Newcastle played? Like my friend said, they were diving too much. You think they were diving too much to get a free kick?
I mean,
I just think they always played like that. Every time we played Newcastle, there's a lot of balls time, like the ball stopping. Like there's a lot stop-start.
Yeah.
Every time we play Newcastle, it's a lot of stop.
Very
physical. It's very man-to-man. Lots of duels. They sort of have lots of duels and very physical sort of game. The ball's off the ground a lot. I've noticed in that game there was a lot of sort of like aerial battles. There was a lot of aerial battles. Is his name Alanga, the bloke on the wing?
Yeah.
He was quite good in parts for Newcastle. I thought he had a fairly good game. And then, but the thing, I don't think that bloke on the other wing was that great for them. What's his name? I forgot his name. Barnes. Yeah, I don't think he had a great game, to be honest. I don't think he was as good. But yeah, I think Gordon worked his socks off, and it was a bit disappointing, really, because I think he played such a good game. And I think he let himself down. He let his side down, basically. Didn't he?
Of course.
And one of the stats with him is he's one of the fastest players so far in the Premier League this season, isn't he? Speed-wise.
I think for Newcastle to go down to 10 men though, and I think any team would do it. They would play tactically. I think to go nearly 45 minutes with the champions anyway. You're not going to play football. Unfortunately, it's easy to say football's this beautiful game, which it is. When you play, Barcelona, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal. But the problem is, football's also tactics, and I do not. It's frustrating when it happens to you, but I do not blame teams for stop-start football when you're in the disadvantage of 10 men, because that is part of the game. How can you make your opponents suffer?
It's very much
like Sam Allardyce used to do, or Tony Pulis.
To be honest, I don't think we'll play football against you for 90 minutes. We'll have spells, but we won't play football because no one ever does at Anfield. No one plays football at Anfield for 90 minutes. There'll be spells where we attack, but there's going to be spells where we probably slow it down and, trying to. I reckon the first 10 minutes, what we're trying to do is take the sting out of the game. When all the fans are up for it and rolled up,
they were rowdy. Like 90 minutes of the Newcastle fans, they were absolutely electric. You got to give them credit for the fans. They were a little bit surprised because the first goal for Liverpool when Gravenberch hit that ball, nobody I didn't expect it to go in. I thought it was a miss, and then once they showed the replay, I just looked at the time. I was like, wait, that went in. Because he hit it so hard, I think there was a bit of deflection from the defender, and then he just went on.
He did hit someone, didn't he?
Yeah, and he just took it to the right corner, like just right on the spot, like perfectly, and then that changes the tone of the game. Like Newcastle was on fire the first 40 minutes.
It's a good shot because he kept it low. If you keep it low, you've always got a chance.
Sometimes that's what you got to do. Sometimes when you're under pressure that much, if you can just hold the ball, be calm and not do anything reckless. I think, and credit to Liverpool, even though they were getting battered like left and right midfield, getting tackled, and they just kept their composure and then gave him a chance when Gravenberch just looked up and he just took a chance and hit the ball dead hard, and it went in. And sometimes that happens in football, And then we were.
I'm not sure whose man it was, but whoever was closest to him needed to close him down quicker. That's the only thing.
Nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted to see it. Like there's no one in that. I think the defenders. He thought he was in midfield. He hit it like way far away.
But he still should have closed him down.
I suppose.
Well, I know I don't want to feel like I'm moving on too quickly here, but come the weekend when Arsenal and Liverpool face each other, Liverpool better get their act together on set pieces and high lines, because that Newcastle goal from
set pieces. Come on.
From Osalua when they played a high line and then literally one ball over the top and Newcastle scored.
I don't understand.
What were they thinking? What were they thinking?
What was that second goal, by the way? Like, is that even like who made that decision to play on a halfway line for the?
That was definitely a tactical. I think that's a management decision.
I've never seen anything like it before.
Did you see,
why
James?
Not just move back?
I did see it. Yeah, I got to admit, by the time it got halfway through the second half, I thought it was all over. So I was watching it in bits while texting someone. So I missed odd bits of it. But I do think, because I already thought it was all over. I thought the game was done when it was like 2-0. Anyway, I saw bits of it.
Ekatiki's goal, what a world-class goal that was. He just came out from nowhere within like up. So, half times start, second half started, couple of passes, and then 46 seconds in, it was a goal. And it was
I don't think Newcastle had actually. I don't think they had actually prepared themselves. They weren't set up right. I think what happened was Newcastle hadn't came. It's like they hadn't come off their break, hadn't they?
I think they weren't really focused. I think they were still shocked of the red card. And
I think they weren't focused. And it was passing. It was quick passing. Straight to him.
The Bruno Gomes, the captain, oh my word, he was on electric. He was so emotional last night, and I think he started crying after the match, like he's lost a final. Like he wanted to punch all Liverpool players last night. It felt like that. He was just like the Hulk, that Bruno guy, the one who scored the second, who scored the goal.
Newcastle's captain.
Who headed. That reminds me. That first goal of Newcastle, that was from a free kick. And oh my God,
Again, set pieces.
Set pieces. But Kerkis is a terrible. So far, for what I've seen him play for the last two matches, he's not been impressive at all. He's not.
Well, the worst thing you can give away against Arsenal, set pieces.
I know. And
that isn't work because we're brilliant at set pieces, free kicks and corners, aren't we?
But I think. What do you think about Kerkis' performance, Craig?
I don't think he's settled yet. I don't think I think he's trying too hard to impress. But not only that, Dan. Why did they put Kerkez on that Newcastle player?
On Bruno.
Why would they put a player who's 5'8", 5'8", 5'9" on a big, powerful midfielder like Bruno? Like,
And Kirkes wasn't even looking at the ball.
Liverpool, tactically, I don't think are right this season.
No.
At the end of the day, listen, you're going to grind out results. That's what champions do. Manchester United did it for years. Where they were, Man City were probably the only champions where they were always exciting. They never really had a bad season. Whereas Man United and Arsenal, I've seen Arsenal grind out, especially for that invincible season.
Yeah,
I remember the Leicester result, the last game of the. So I'll always remember that result, the Leicester result, because it's one of those things I'll always remember. And it was a bit scary at the beginning, and then they made easy work of it. And I think that's what Liverpool are doing. They're not making easy work of it, but if they could just turn up at set pieces. But I tell you what, it's going to be a very difficult match Sunday if they don't. Arsenal, I can see. I personally, I think Arsenal are favourites for it in my mind. The stats will say differently because obviously Liverpool are favourites to win. But just watching these first two games, Arsenal look a lot more comfortable, and they have the bench as well.
Of course, they'll go into the game on Sunday with they've just won 5-0. Obviously, they will feel they have that feeling to going in that they're going to win it. But
I think the only reason why I think we've got a really strong chance on Sunday is because our defence is better. I think our defence is solid. We ain't let a goal in yet, have we? I think, but then again, we've only played Man United that have attacked us because Leeds.
And remember, and you got no Saka this weekend either, so I don't know how that's going to affect the team.
That matters. I don't think that matters. I think that bloke's going to be as good. I think, well, not as good, but I think he's going to do well on that. And I think he's more like. I think sometimes Saka cuts in and he shoots a lot, and he's been lately Saka's been a bit greedy, to be honest, because there's times when he could have fed Gyökeres and he's cut in and shot, and I do think that this Madueke, he seems like someone who's going to whip the ball in for him quicker. So I do think it's going to be refreshing to give Saka let him have that time out, let him have that competition with Madueke, because Madueke can play on the right, but he don't really want to play on the left. If he does
well, Saka will be bench. Saka will sit on the bench if he does well. His replacement, I hope he does. I'm not a big fan of Saka.
No, I really like Saka, but the thing is, I do think competition's healthy for him, and I think also I don't think it hurts to have a fresh person on the right, because Saka, even though he's brilliant, he's always got two men on him, he can start getting predictable. And I think Martinelli's been struggling on that left wing, so it's good to have if we do have Eze on the left wing and Odegaard's still fit to play in the middle. And as I say, it'd be good to be unpredictable, because otherwise you become predictable if you keep using the same.
One thing I like to add is that I hope Kirkes Robertson will start on Sunday. I think at this caliber,
Robertson has to start Sunday.
Robertson has to start because he's more experienced dealing with Arsenal. Like where Kirkes hasn't played Arsenal with Liverpool yet, and he's been terrible the last two games, and he's the weakest point. And I think though I don't think Szoboszlai, either Bradley or Szoboszlai will start again on the right back, and I'm hoping Szoboszlai will do, and because that will give McAllister and Florian Wirtz. Hopefully, McAllister will be back on the team, and Jones will be on the bench, and we'll have Florian Wirtz with McAllister in midfield and with Gravenberch, and I'm hoping that Szoboszlai will stick to right back again, and I want Robertson to start over Kirkes, I think. But one thing for sure, Florian Wirtz, 109 million, 10 player, has not been impressive at all.
No,
I think. Because he's played quite well in midfield and he's Zubimendi, so
yeah,
I think he's been. I think, but I still think we've got more to come from Gyökeres. Obviously, I think we've got that defender that we bought as well. Anyway, the centre back bloke. We've got the Norwegian bloke, and what's his name? Norgard, isn't it?
Norgard, a midfielder.
Yeah. What do you think? How do you see
Mascara centre back? Mascara. Yeah, Mascara.
I do like the Gyökeres. He's been paying attention to what people have been saying on Twitter with him, with his hair celebration.
Actually, Dan, did you count it
That's
this time?
You were saying, wasn't it?
How many times he touched his hair? How many times this time, Dan?
It was no stats on that one.
Do you know with Newcastle versus Liverpool where they had the ref cam? Danny has his own Gyökeres hair cam.
What do you think? Oh,
Yeah.
one thing I forgot to mention. What do you think about the
I
new?
think Dennis has got a crush on him.
On Gyökeres. Do you wish you had Gyökeres instead of TK?
Oh, mate,
Ekitike.
never, mate. Ekitike for it's the new Torres, mate. It's got this, it's got the same vibe as Torres. You know, I think he will definitely get loads of goals this season. I'm hoping he'll get more goals than Gyökeres. You know,
How
no
many has he
penalties
scored
in
so far?
3 in a row.
3, yeah.
In a row, he scored Crystal Palace in the Community Shield. He scored last week, and he scored last night. So three
No,
goals
I mean
already.
how many has he
Oh well,
scored in the
2.
Premier League? 2, isn't
He
it?
scored 2.
2,
Yeah. Yeah.
Same as Gyökeres.
Yeah,
Same
same
as
as
Gyökeres.
Gyökeres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one's
And
penalty,
we
though, you know, it doesn't count.
and we got our best striker as well, Timber. He scored 2 as
What
well.
do you think you reminds you of? On all the Premier League strikers, what do you think Gyökeres is similar to, in your opinion? Which seem like
You know, Giroud.
Giroud.
No, he's faster than Giroud, and he's got a bit more pace than Giroud. But I don't know because apparently he doesn't score many headers. He looks quite physical, though, doesn't he? And I don't know. It's hard to say. I've not seen enough of him. I've only seen clips of him on YouTube before he came to Arsenal. So, how comes you've got 2 screens now, Craig?
I think it's because my phone has just asked me to. My phone's only just woken up.
What I wanted to ask Craig, because Dennis didn't really give me an answer, is who do you think made the mistakes in the game against Newcastle at the back then? Or do you think they weren't mistakes? Do you think they were
for
just
Liverpool? For Liverpool.
Yeah.
Oh, Canate. I think he's the weakest link. I think
Konate,
Van Dijk had a good game. He had a better game. He had a better game than he did on the first game of the season. But Konate, unfortunately for Liverpool, they haven't got an experienced backup to centre back. I know they got Gomez, but you wouldn't play Gomez against Arsenal because he isn't fit either. But I honestly think going into this game, Konate's the weakest link. I don't know if his mind's in Madrid or PSG because obviously his contract finished at the end of the season.
He's got no contract yet. I think that's his mind.
I'm nothing against. I know he's a good defender. He was quality last season. He was quality the season before. He's got so much potential. But so I'm not blaming him as a player. But this season, I don't know what's going on. It's like he's new in the team and he's never played with Van Dijk before.
Yeah, I think. It's weird. It's a weird situation last night where Van Dijk and Konate, they weren't talking to each other at all. Like there was no communication. They weren't looking at each other. Like where's the communication between the two? Do they have a little quarrel between the two that we don't know? Like it's been. If you look at the last 2 games, they're not talking to each other for some reason. I don't know what's going on there. They're not. You know, Van Dijk is not acting like a captain in a minute. He's not telling all his defenders to, like he used to do with Trent. Like, hey, listen, I'm like, keep an eye on him. I didn't see that on Van Dijk. Van Dijk just played his football last night. He did really well to keep Newcastle at bay, but he wasn't telling Konate or Kerkes on the other side, like pay attention even more. And it's weird. I don't know. Maybe there's something going on behind the door.
Do you think Van Dijk's going to last the season because of his age? I think he's going to get injured at some point.
I
don't think he's going to last.
I think he will go. He will go next season with Salah. I think.
But I don't think he's going to last this season. I think something. I mean, I obviously don't wish an injury on anyone, but I think at some point I don't think he's going to last the season. Van Dijk.
No, he will. He will definitely.
What made you say that? What makes you say that, James?
Just because over time players deteriorate. And they get so much knocks. 34.
He's 34.
They get so much knocks, and I just think at some point, especially with a team like he could have easily got injured last night, couldn't he? Really? I mean, he could still be injured. They might say he's got a knock yet. He played on, but what I'm saying is I just don't think players get injured so regularly. It's like he's had an injury before off Pickford, didn't he? Do you remember Danny's leg, the goalie?
Yeah.
And I just can't. I honestly, the amount of centre backs we've had injured, like last season, we had Gabriel out for a while, we had Saliba out for a while. I just think it'd be very lucky for him to last 2 full seasons without getting injured. To be honest,
I think they will leave next season. I think if I think they will sign Mark Gur next. If Liverpool can't get him this week, he will sign next summer on a free transfer. And I think Van Dijk will either go to PSG.
I think also.
See, I'm the opposite.
The reason why I'm saying that,
I'm the opposite. I actually think Van Dijk's in the shape of his life. I don't see an injury coming. And now I'm going to say that, and this video is going to probably be repeated on me, so I'll just make a note of that for when I come back to it. But if anything, I can't see Van Dijk leaving next year.
I don't think he'll leave. I just think
he's getting. I'm not saying he's getting better, but I don't think. Obviously, with football now, players get older. Years ago, when they hit 32, 33, then you'd be slowing down. I believe Van Dijk's 33, is he? 34? 34. Yeah, he isn't getting better, but I don't think he's getting worse.
I don't think he's getting worse.
I think he's very good by the media and social media to make it look like he's out of position. But when you're a defender who's playing with Konate, who doesn't know his left or his right, I think he's got a lot to put up with. He's got also 2 new fullbacks to coordinate. And let's be honest, Liverpool haven't got I personally don't think Liverpool have got a spark off the bench. Yes, you got Chiesa, you got Elliott, you got that young lad.
Let's talk about Rio's goal, the winning goal.
We'll talk about Rio's goal, and then we'll talk about the comparison between Rio. I don't know, I can't pronounce his second name. Ungamenga, is it? And then obviously, then you got Max Staumann by Arsenal, and two very nifty footy player features. Two very neatly players who can play on that wing in both different sides. So, I mean, what do we think about the winning goal? I mean, it was typical Liverpool, wasn't it?
I think they just caught him with a sucker punch on the counter, didn't they? Really, and Newcastle should have been expecting it really after. Do
you think? Yeah, but it wasn't like a lucky type of run. I think you see, this is what Liverpool do best. You know, when you're champions and you're used to experience, like when you're getting battered from like full on 80 minutes, constantly under pressure. It's almost like a reflection of the PSG game, the first leg, when Liverpool we had no chance, and then Slot made substitution on the 85th minute, brought in Elliott, and he just scored that goal. That's all you need: one chance, one goal to make it a win, and it was a win against PSG.
I don't understand.
Last night. I think that echoes last night when he brought in, Elliott and Rio in the 86 minutes, and then obviously he had a 10-minute. Lucky for him, there was a 10-minute extra time. And this is Newcastle's fault. Do you think that 10-minute extra time was a bit long?
No, I think the game was stop-start, and obviously you had...
Yeah, and you had Newcastle only have to blame for that.
If anything, Newcastle, don't get me wrong, Newcastle, if I was a Newcastle fan, I'd be very proud of the team, but I'd also be very disappointed that they let the goal in the end.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But I think Newcastle, when the 11 minutes go up, they had no complaints about that. And I think now, because Liverpool scored on the 10th minute, it's, oh my God, Liverpool have done it again. Liverpool have got 10 minutes extra time. But if you look at the game, I personally think Liverpool wanted the match to end then, because everybody, I think if you were to put a bet on it, in 95 minutes, Newcastle were the favourites to get the next goal. And I think if Liverpool could have ended that game earlier, they would have done. So, if anything, that the advantage of the 11 minutes was with Newcastle, because their momentum, and they were all over Liverpool.
Once they got the second goal and they equalised, they should have just done what Leeds done against us and just played a low block and just shut you out. I don't know why they left it so open at the back. It was crazy, really. They
were eager to go. Adamant, yeah. I mean, Bruno was on fire. He was leading his team, Newcastle team, against Liverpool so well. Of course,
But with 10 men, you take the draw, don't you?
I think Newcastle will try and be very greedy. Like you said, James, I agree with you.
Greedy, yeah.
They were greedy, but the momentum was with them. So I think it's one of them where you've got the fans are obviously on your backs. Not on your backs, but, cheering you on. But I agree, you should have, at 96 minutes when that ball didn't go in,
you should have held the ball, yeah. And remember, they had 2 corners before the whistle. It's like 10 minutes came in, and it was like, went to 11 minutes and 46 seconds before the whistle was blown. They had 2 corners within 1 minute as well. They're trying to get a goal.
Liverpool was so frustrated when the corners were going against them. You could see Liverpool wanted that whistle to blow.
First of all,
I just think the reason why I think they should have took the draw, if that was Arsenal in that situation and we'd come back with 10 men and it was 2-2, I would have been happy for Arsenal to take the draw, because if Arsenal are
Yeah,
challenging
any
for the
team will
league,
do. Like any team will
yeah,
take a
exactly. I
draw. You
don't see
know,
why.
it's 2-0
In
down.
fact, I remember Dennis in when we were in Rome, right? This was funny. Now we go back to this argument now in Rome. So when me and Tom and Dennis were in Rome, we were sitting in the pub watching Man City Arsenal. And the Arsenal were in a situation where they had 10 men. And at the time, obviously it didn't happen, but we thought City were going to be the ones we were challenging. And obviously Liverpool ended up winning the league. But at the time, we thought, and I said, we're beating the best team in the league, which they were at the time, weren't they? And we beaten them with 10 men and we're 2-1 up. And we ended up drawing 2-2. And Dennis goes, you should have gone for the third, you should have finished the game. But when you got 10 men, you're in a different situation, aren't you? I don't necessarily agree with that. You just try and hold out, don't you, with their 10 men.
No, no.
And
The problem was that
I think with the time they had left Newcastle, I think they win injury time, their extra time added on, they should have just tried to hold out. And I know we let the goal in and it ended up 2-2 and then Haaland threw the ball at the back of Gabriel's head. But I think I was really proud of Arsenal that day because we played the best team in the world at the time. And we played them all that game. Trossard got sent off in the first half. We played them the whole game with 10 men. And I thought that was unbelievable. But then what Newcastle did last night was even better in a way because they were 2-0 down and came back.
Yeah.
That was incredible, to be fair.
Yeah. So I want to ask a question to both of you. I'm going to start with James because we've talked about Liverpool for a bit. That was the first time I watched that Max Dowman play, and I did think to myself, what are Arsenal doing bringing on a 15-year-old, especially what happened to Walcott starting so young? Personally, I think Sterling started too young as well from a Liverpool point of view. And you see a lot of these young players who come into the game too young. You see Rashford, Greenwood. It goes to the heads, but obviously they get the attention. But what I will say, he's going to be a very good player if Arsenal manage him well, because that was the first time I saw him. And I'll be honest with you, I've heard all these Arsenal fans talking about him, and I thought,
who we
just
talking
let
about?
it go. Max Dowman.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you saw his performance then. So, what do you think, James? I mean, I don't
know.
know.
I saw him in the friendly because I went in on the Emirates with Daniel Waterman, and I saw him in the friendly, and he did exactly the same thing he done against Leeds. He ran at him, and he won a penalty. And I thought, bloody hell, this kid's got confidence. He's like 15. He's still at school, and he's taking his GCSEs. And I thought, this don't look like a kid. It looks like someone who's been playing for quite a bit of time. And we've seen the same with Ethan Nwaneri. He's done, obviously, Nwaneri's, in fact, the last two games, he's looked better than Nwaneri, Max Down, to be fair. And Nwaneri's come off on the bench and Max Dowman's come off the bench. And Dowman's looked a better player. And he's ran at players and he won that penalty that obviously Victor Gyökeres took. And he won that because he had the courage to take players on. And he done exactly the same. We lost 3-2 against Villarreal in a friendly when I went. But he done exactly the same. And he won us a penalty and Odegaard scored it. And I thought so both times. And I said to my dad, and my dad didn't even know he was at the time. I said, we've got this young kid and he looks really good. He's just come out of the youth
Looks
team.
sharp, yeah.
And he looks so, he, not necessarily strong. He does get pushed off the ball a bit, but he's so quick with his feet and the way he controls the ball. Trossard played the ball from one side of the pitch to the other, and he controlled it on the outside of his foot. And I was like, bloody hell, that is
and it's 15, right? It's 15.
That is confident. Yeah,
15,
at 15.
yeah.
That is confidence to
Yeah.
be able to control the ball on the outside of your foot like that at 15. And it was like a long ball from one wing to the other. And he just brought it down with such confidence. And I've got no worries about him whatsoever. I think he's going to be a great player.
He could have got a goal last night. He could have got a goal at the weekend as well.
Over the bar, didn't he, from outside the area?
And there was a chance where I think they went to pass it to him, and instead of taking the shot, he passed it back. And I think even the commentator said they were lining that up for him. I just hope Arsenal. I just hope for his sake that Arsenal don't rush him in, because I think I heard off the commentators Arsenal wanted to bring him into the first team last year, but the rules state that you've got to be in your 16th season year.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to watch more of him, and I'm going to ask you the same question, Dan, about Rio Ungamoa. There we go. Got his name right.
Rio. We'll call him Rio.
Now, I do follow some Liverpool games, as you know, and again, I'll be the same. In pre-season, I've been hearing this Rio Ungamoa, and I thought, let the kid be, let him learn his trade. But he come on and he didn't have as long as Max Dowman had, but he did run it. He did run at Newcastle's defence, and he was in the right place at the right time.
Right place, right time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for the goal, you mean?
Just to talk about his winning goal, like that goal was one of the most very difficult to execute, and he hit that ball so perfectly. Like you can ask, even Terry Honey said like that type of technique, that goal is when it's going so fast at you and you hit it for the first time. Most strikers will try to control the ball and hit it, but he just hit it first time, and that curl on the right. It was such a perfect goal for him. Like I think for a 16-year-old to do that, it takes a lot of courage and confidence and skills. Yeah,
it looks easy from the TV, but as you both know in football, when the ball comes across to you,
even the most experienced
imagine
striker.
all those people watching you as well, and you've got it's the last minute of the game.
Yeah. So Dennis was worried about. He wanted me to have the background of the Emirates. Well, I've actually got the background of the Emirates.
No, I don't care about that.
And I got a picture with Mr. Ian Wright there signed.
What was going to say? What I'm going to add? That Rios goal was so easy, but even the most experienced player that scored 39 goals in the Portugal league would miss that goal. I think if that was Gyökeres taking that shot, that would have been.
Well, that goal your kid scored.
Yeah, he would have missed that.
How old is he anyway? Though
16.
Do you think? Yeah. Oh, by the way, do you think there's a competition right here because of Barcelona's 17-year-old wonder kid who's turned 18 recently? Do you think there's between clubs now, like thinking bringing all this like teenagers coming that young to play?
To be honest, I think it's always wrong. 16, didn't it? United or so. I think it's always happened. It's just it happens in bursts, and you don't notice it. I mean, Walcott was quite young when he started at Arsenal, but he never really turned out. That's exactly what Craig was saying. I hope they don't push him too early and end up
I'm not saying he didn't. I think there was a lot of pressure on him going to the World Cup as well in his first season. Joining Arsenal, and that's what I'm trying to say. I mean, Max Dowman and Ungamoa look like really two. Confidence is the thing. So I don't know if you've both noticed from your teams, but when you because you watch the Arsenal TV channel, Liverpool TV channel, you see all these young players coming up, then they join the first team, and it's like they don't have the confidence to go at their defence, which is fair enough. Those two lads, Alman and Ungamoa,
I think there's more.
They weren't afraid. They just want to go forward, which is.
I think the reason for that, I think, is what they see on social media when they say the name, people talk about them, they read that, and it makes them give them confidence. When especially when you're that teenager, you're always on your phone and you go on Twitter. And
I want to take a quick time to talk about Martinelli actually, because I think Martinelli unfortunately has gone backwards in his approach to football lately. I don't think he's as good as he was, and I think there's a reason for that. I think sometimes it's overtraining. I think he's not being like sometimes you become too systematic with your tactics, and I think that for some reason he's a player that's took to it from the perspective I'm watching at the moment. He seems to have took everything too literally with possibly what Arteta's saying or whatever the coaching's saying and all that. And I think it sometimes he goes sideways, backwards, and it seems he has a reluctance to express himself now. And he almost seems like a robot to me, to the point where he goes sideways, backwards with the ball, and he never seems to want to take a player on there. And he never. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope he does come out and start playing well this season. But last season, towards the end, he was really struggling, I think. And then the game yesterday, they brought Trossard on, and Martinelli didn't even came on. And I think Martinelli must have felt a bit embarrassed yesterday because, you had that Madueke, he was playing, you had Gyökeres, you had Saka, you had Max Dowman come on, a 15-year-old, and he must think a 15-year-old's coming on before me. Trossard's coming off who we were supposedly selling, and we might still sell Trossard, yeah. And Martinelli was sat on the bench, and I reckon Arteta done that to prove a point. I think he's trying to push a bit of fire in him, and because at the moment Martinelli's really gone off form.
Yeah.
And Martinelli was a good player. I remember him. Was it Liverpool? He ran through the midfield. It was, wasn't it? It was against Liverpool. He scored a goal and ran right through the middle, didn't he? And he used to be a player that used to just run at people and he just seems to have
Maybe
lost
it's
that for
just
some
getting
reason.
older, mate. It's just it's not.
Yeah, but he's not
nothing
that
else
old,
to
is he?
it.
He's not that old.
I
Is he?
still like him. I do. And if Liverpool or if any other club went in for him, I think he's got more to give. I'm not saying Arsenal.
Maybe that's what he needs. Maybe he needs a new club.
He needs a club where he's
Newcastle. He needs Newcastle, mate. He needs to move to Newcastle.
Well, he needs a club where he's going to be the main focal point because currently Arsenal, Saka is obviously the main man of the wings, and I think he's being outshone.
I think also we tend to play it towards Saka's side more, and I think the reason why I think Martinelli's so low in confidence, and also on them wings, because they know how Arsenal's going to play, they know we play it wide a lot, they double up on Saka and Martinelli, but the difference is Saka's got the ability to take two players on, whereas Martinelli doesn't seem to have that at the moment. So I think Martinelli's struggling, whereas Saka's got the ability to deal with two defenders. You see what I mean? Or he does them quick 1-2s with Odegaard, whereas Martinelli on the opposite side, he hasn't had that. Like we used to have Zinchenko behind him. We used to have who did we have? Oh, we had Lewis Skelly recently, and then now it's Calafiori on the left back. And I think Martinelli's been isolated on that wing because he hasn't had someone like we've had like an introverted fullback that hasn't been giving him much support lately. That's what it is, I think.
Just to say, we're coming on the time now. Maybe 5-8 minutes left. So I want to wrap this up by taking your prediction for the weekend. What do you think is going to score on Sunday? James, you go first.
So if we do scores and
or Craig.
play. No, I'm happy for James. Go.
Well, I don't think
realistically,
I don't think we'll let a goal in, so I'm going to say 1-0. I don't think Arsenal let a goal in. I don't.
And who's going to score it, James?
I think a bit. Funny enough, I think it'll be a corner. I think Gabriel's going to get his first goal.
yeah. Imagine that it'll be your 20 goals per season, like Gabriel scoring from corners, 20 goals.
I think Gabriel's going to get his first corner this
season. Would that be the first?
Yeah.
Well, imagine if he scores 20 goals this season from corners. Would that be the first defender to ever do that? Score 20 goals in one season.
And he scored a lot last season. How many corners did he score last season? He must have scored about 6 last season. He must have scored the most ever from corners last season, mustn't he?
So, Craig, what's your prediction?
So I'm not just saying it because obviously I don't. The issue is for me. I think Arsenal score 2 goals, but I also think if Liverpool starts off quickly and it's at Anfield as well, I think Liverpool get two goals. What I will say is, from a point of view when you look at both teams haven't lost yet, I would probably say it's 2-2. But if one team were to edge it, especially if Newcastle could do that with 10 men last night, I think. If a team was to edge it, I think it might be Arsenal at 3-2, and that's because I don't think Liverpool have got a decent enough backup in defence. But if I'm going to go on what the stats currently say, where both teams haven't lost yet, I think more than likely it'll be 2-2.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I think that's a good call, to be honest with you. A draw 2-2 in that caliber. I think this is a defining moment as well for the title race. I know it's earlier to start. But
it's too early for that.
It is too early, but you want to win the big games, don't you? Like the Arsenal, the top 4 teams. You want to beat them first and get the points, maximum points. But for me, I think my prediction, just looking at Ikitika's form in a minute, I think he'll definitely score again. Whether
he's going to say 4-0, won't he?
Whether Florian Wirtz will turn up, I think Salah would get a score sheet. I think after what happened last night, he didn't really do too well. I think Salah, if he can grab the ball, if he can, I'd say 2-1. 2-1.
2-1, right, okay.
2-1 Arsenal, is that done?
2-1 to Liverpool, mate. He could take a Mo Salah in corner FC, one goal.
No, Yeah, I think what we're trying to do in the first 10 minutes is slow the game down and quieten your crowd. That's what I think we're trying to do. I think we'll keep possession and just try and
Yeah,
slow the game down.
Arteta in training this week will have those massive speakers playing the Anfield "You Never Walk Alone" song. Let's pretend we're in Anfield, lads. Let's pretend.
You laugh, but it's worked, mate, because you haven't beat us since. So
Well,
you haven't beat us for the last.
Well,
So you laugh at it.
it goes both ways, mate. You haven't beaten us either. So.
We beat you. We have beat you in the last 2 seasons. Yeah, we have definitely.
So yeah, let's. I'm gonna end this with
Want to look up the scores? Should we look up the scores before we get?
No. I just want to recap quickly, okay, before we shut off. I just want to recap the score over Saturday. So just a quick thought. Man City Spurs 2-0. What did you like? That was surprisingly crazy, and I think Man City will struggle again this season.
Just quickly, James, what do you think about Spurs this season? Honestly,
I think they look good. I think they look good, and I think I really thought City looked good, but they've only played Wolves now. I look at it like they've only played Wolves, and I thought actually City didn't look that good against Spurs. So I think Spurs look really good. I don't think they'll be able to keep it up. I think certain players, like I think with Charlton, they go on and off. I think he'd drift on and off. I think when they get Madison back, there'll be a day. The bloke they've got at the back, Romero, he's a lot more. They've got a solid defence now. I think Spurs look good. I think they look a top 4 side.
Yeah,
I think they do.
Yeah.
I think they look a top 4 side.
I think they'll find, especially with a new manager. I think he's a good manager.
I think they look good. Yeah.
And we had Bournemouth versus Wolves. That was 1-0. Brentford beat Aston Villa 1-0. Burnley beat Sunderland 2-0. And obviously Arsenal 5-0 at home. On Sunday, the results were. Let me just check. Premier League Sunday.
Palace won. Palace beat Brighton, didn't
they? Palace versus Nottingham Forest. It was a draw 1-1.
Oh, I got mixed up. Sorry.
And Everton and Brighton. I watched that game actually. Oh mate, Jack Grealish was on fire. He had 2 assists.
He got man in the match, didn't he?
Yeah, and he was in Everton's new stadium too in Bromley Moor.
Having said that, Brighton had a few chances.
They did, yeah, they did. I think they were just out.
Welbeck missed the penalty. Welbeck missed the penalty.
I think they were outplayed by Jack Grealish. I think he's a good player to loan that. And obviously Fulham and Manchester United. I just want to go quick over. Man United still hasn't won a game.
Yeah, I think Fulham, to be honest, looked the better team. To be fair,
do you think that
Man United need to?
Did you see the Bruno Fernandes? Bruno Fernandes penalty. That was a weird situation because he was about to take the penalty and the referee went.
I think the ref put him off. He did.
He did. But that's not.
He put him off. But he was like a child who, when something goes wrong, he blames it on them. Like the referee bumped into him. If anything. Fernandes was walking back without looking at his surroundings as well. The fact that he was moaning, he didn't apologise. Mate, get on with it. You're on £350 a week.
I think the problem is with Bruno Fernandes, he's always been that kind of character to whinge a lot.
Could you imagine having a captain who whinges like that, though?
Yeah, I know. And now that I look back at it, Man United, even though Bruno Fernandes is a brilliant player, when you've got someone that whinges all the time like that, it must put a negative on the morale. It must put a negative on the morale.
As your captain as well, that's the person you look up to.
Yeah, it must put a negative outlet on the whole team eventually, because you must think this guy's just putting us down or moaning all the time. Well, you imagine if he whinges like that at the ref, he whinges at his players a lot. That's what I'm thinking.
I still believe Man United will take Arsenal's space on top 4 and Arsenal finish 5th.
Well, is that? Did you have another 5?
I'm kidding. I'm joking. Before we go, I just Anthony Gordon put out a statement today about his penalty sending off last night. Have you read it about it? Have you heard about it?
No.
I'm gonna read the quote to you. So Gordon's statement, he said, "I want to sincerely apologize to my teammates and the fans. My intentions were pure. I was just trying to create energy in the game, and I mistimed the tackle. I also want to apologize to Virgil. I would never intend to tackle somebody like this on purpose. We spoke after, and he knows that. But the way he said my intentions were pure, I was just trying to create energy in the game, and I mistimed the tackle. There was no mistimed tackle because he was far away from Virgil. He just lunged at him for no reason. I think.
I don't think he did it maliciously. I think it was the heat of the moment. I don't think he. I
Yeah.
don't think he set out to injure Van Dijk. I don't think he
Yeah.
would do that. He don't.
Well,
Out
he
of all
came
the
out with an
Newcastle
apology. I
players,
think
he
fair
seems
play.
the least likely to do that to me.
Fair play to him. He did say apologise, so I'm all forgiven.
That's what I mean, and I don't think
Yeah,
he'd do it
yeah,
maliciously.
yeah. And you don't see Bruno Fernandes apologising to Man United fans for being a crybaby, do you? Says about the player, mate. Like he should apologise to Man United fans.
Mind you, they've got some good players now. They've got that bloke from Wolves, and Kuna. Is it Kuna?
I think
he's
for
good.
Man United to come back, they need a new penalty taker.
They've got a bloke from Brentford's all right as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
You got one more thought, Craig, before we go.
On who, Manchester United?
No, not anything you want to say or in.
Obviously normally I would give you a little. I can do I'd give a Port Vale update, but unfortunately we had a really terrible match on Saturday. It was really poor. No negatives, we were we need a striker. We lost our striker in the beginning of the week. Plymouth Argyle bid 1.2 million for our top striker, and that was a release clause. So he went. So we're currently our main number 9 is a loanee from Wrexham. I do think we need to bring someone in. We're sitting after 5 games, 22nd in the league with no win, but I'm not being optimistic here looking beyond the facts. We are playing really well, especially the first 4 games. We just need a bloody striker who can put the ball in the bottom of the net. So I don't really want to go on an update on that because at the end of the day, we lost 1-0, and I don't want to bore you both. And I know we've been on probably over the time.
Been an hour now. Well, 10 minutes.
Yeah, just quickly because it's the EFL Cup week this week. Just quickly, I just want to see if both of you know who won the Carabao Cup, the last 5 winners, and whoever gets the most.
So last year, Newcastle won it on the final against Liverpool.
So Newcastle won it.
The year before, it was, I believe it was Man City.
Manchester United, weren't it? United.
No.
Manchester City?
Nope.
Oh, sorry, no, Liverpool. Liverpool won it.
Liverpool won it.
And then it was Manchester United, weren't it?
Then Manchester United 22-23.
Yeah.
And then Manchester City won the treble, of course.
No, 21-22 wasn't Man City.
No, wasn't.
So let me go through it. So it was the last one was Newcastle. Then you said it was Liverpool before that.
Yeah.
Then Manchester United.
Yeah.
Who won it before that? So if it weren't Man City,
it definitely wasn't
22.
Arsenal.
No, we don't win the League Cup. We never win the League Cup.
You just give it away for free.
Yeah. So if it weren't Man City,
Chelsea?
Nope.
No.
Are you sure it wasn't Man City?
I'm pretty sure. I remember watching it.
So they won the treble the year before, was it then?
Man City won it. Man City won it. Won it 2021. 20.
Yeah.
So 21-22 is the only one we're missing.
Oh, Liverpool.
Liverpool again.
Liverpool again.
It was versus Chelsea.
Yeah.
That was a season. They played Chelsea
Wembley,
twice in the FA Cup final.
And before that, it was Man City, right? Treble.
And to be fair, going on that Port Vale update, the reason I was looking at my phone constantly and the reason why I accidentally left the meeting is Port Vale beat Birmingham in the Carabao Cup this evening 1-0. So
Stoke have gone out.
Stoke have gone out, so I'm feeling pretty jolly.
Oh, mate, that's heaven to my ears. Stoke going out. What was
Burton have gone out.
What was the Crystal Palace score?
Crystal Palace scored. I don't know.
I think West Ham was it?
I don't know. Wolves beat West Ham 3-2.
Oh, really?
Crystal Palace ain't in it yet, are they?
I thought they did.
Because they won the FA Cup. They're not in it yet, are they?
I don't think.
Sorry, Bournemouth and Brentford.
Crystal Palace ain't in it yet, I don't think.
Brentford won 2-0. Yeah, Brentford. I'm
What
liking
time is it now?
Kelly.
It's 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
said that, like-
what I will say, James, is
Mhm.
it's never normally this long. I think because
yeah,
we've all been in a rhythm. For myself, I'm normally in bed now. So,
yeah. I'll be in bed
um,
now.
honestly, I think it's because it's been the second weekend, and Arsenal and Liverpool coming up, we've overran it. But
Yeah, last night was a
Mm.
bit late. Last night.
you
Right.
definitely, what I will say is, I know you can't join them all the time, but it definitely gives another insight as well. So, if you
Mhm.
can, even if it means joining halfway through, just let us know when you want to join, and we can
Yeah.
schedule it differently.
Yeah, all right
Okay.
then. Yeah, no worries.
Before going, let me just stop the recording
All right then.
before we go. Recording.
You go and edit this, Dennis, so we take
Yeah,
out the bits where, yeah.
you can take out the bit. Once I add that, you can take out the bits and
Mhm.
make it real. So that will upload. Let me just undo the other one.